unfortunately, we get more evidence all the time that intuition is often not very accurate. It's romantic, it's easy. We love to use it. Entrepreneurs in general love it, but it's not a very good guide to making decisions most of the time. And I say, well, if you want to use intuition, there are certain circumstances when it's appropriate. One is when you've made the same type of decision over and over again. And then your brain kind of gets, it becomes a machine in itself. It becomes tuned to understanding that particular question, and you can do a pretty good job of making a decision. Another is when there's no data at all, and you don't really have any choice whether to use data and analytics. Then I think, great, use your intuition, but test it as soon as you can. Try to get some data, try something out, do an experiment of some type, have a control group so you get some rigor in that experimentation, and then you can really combine, I think, intuition and data. In merger and acquisition analysis, for example, should I acquire this company or merge with this company or whatever, they say that 70% of the outcomes are negative of those. And those have been largely, artisanal, human, intuition-based in many cases kinds of analyses. So we could be wrong with analytics a bit and still be better than previous, human-centric methods of decision-making. I always said about big data, analytics, even cognitive technology like machine learning, that the barriers for smaller organizations keep kind of dropping all the time. The data gets cheaper, the analytics software gets cheaper, the hardware gets cheaper. It's in the cloud. It's very easy to buy small pieces of it as you need it. The limiting factor is really an understanding of what's possible with these capabilities. And I think in small organizations, most managers are too busy kind of running the day-to-day business to have time left over for understanding what to do with these technologies. That, I think, that awareness, that understanding is what's lacking in most small businesses. And I see that all the time. Babson is frequently rated #1 in the world for entrepreneurship. These entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, come to learn how to be better business people, and they just don't have the time to think about technology in many cases. It's unfortunate. I think you always can benefit from knowing more about what your customers are buying from you, what their level of satisfaction is with you. Customer data is always very important. If you want to make money in your business, then pricing data is always important. I always say if you want to make money with analytics, start with pricing, because most companies don't have scientific approaches to pricing. They take their cost and they add on a percentage, or they use their intuition, or they let a salesperson use their intuition about what a customer will buy. So customer data and pricing data, I think the two single most important areas. But you'd be surprised how inexpensive it is to get a vast amount of computing power in the cloud for a short period of time. So I think those barriers of hardware and software expense are definitely easing over time. What we try to do is to talk about a new way to think about data management, somewhat derived from sports. It argues that we should allocate our activities on offense, scoring points, scoring goals, getting more market share, making more money, versus defense, the cybersecurity, privacy, data governance, and effective management kinds of activities. And most organizations haven't made a conscious decision. How much energy do we put into offense with our data, and how much do we put into defense? So we just are really trying, one aspect of the article anyways, to try, and the webcast, is to try to persuade people to consciously think about how much energy should go into one thing or the other. We were, my co-author and I, another Babson professor, were struck by the fact that some of these companies that were being acquired for large amounts of money, they were able to basically take advantage of a vast amount of capability of, free or inexpensive data, cloud-based computing services. You have a lot of relatively available, sometimes free services around mapping of where your customers are coming from and where they're going. And I think that's, we all have to be interested in what information technology can do to transform our organizations. Whether you're running a small storefront, whether you're running a small e-commerce oriented business, there are amazing capabilities out there, and it's everybody's job to pursue them.